You're not going to get a lot out of the silver guys until maybe $200-300 plus an ounce.
We are here with our next guest, Peter Spina, president of GoldSeek.com. Welcome, Peter.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
Great to have you here. You were actually one of the panelists at the main speaker hall earlier today. It was the 2026 silver forecast, and you made a bold statement that silver is extremely undervalued. Do you want to touch on some of those points?
Yeah, I think we've reached a very interesting point in the cycle here with silver finally catching up to the gold price. We've had the gold price really move up aggressively over the last few years. Silver price was lagging, and it was very obvious from a golden perspective, the ratio perspective, that silver is very cheap. And in the last months, we've really seen that silver price react to the gold price and catching up to the gold price. That said, silver price has done very well. It has broken above $100 this morning, hit I think even 117. We've had a bit of a pullback right now. It's 107 now. So every few minutes in the volatility,
it's happening live.
Wow.
It is, and
no one could keep up.
No one can. I mean, it's very hard to understand and trying to figure out what's going on right now. So the volatility is here. You got to be very careful, especially in the short term, trying to trade silver. But I think the fundamental drivers of the silver market are going to continue to drive the price much higher. With the gold price, we're going to continue to see new record highs, but there is definitely potential for the price to get hit hard for a short period of time. You get these smashes in the price, but they keep on getting bought up because there's a myriad of demand forces converging all at once to drive the silver price higher. I think the silver price upside is still quite up there. You definitely have $23 price risk on the downside that can, so approaching it as a new investor, I would say, maybe buy a little bit in here. If you get a price pullback, that would be your opportunity. The upside, I think you can get up to the $200 to $300 an ounce range over the next 12 to 18 months. But it is going to be volatile, and it's not for the average investor. This is something that they're not really exposed to, unless maybe you're in the crypto sphere or some other hot sector.
Right.
The volatility is a very difficult thing to stomach. The dynamics here are we have shortages of physical silver in key parts of the world, in China, in London. The West, not so much yet, but it's being drained aggressively. And the dominant feature that we've seen the last year is that silver has turned into a critical metal in the United States and other parts of the world. So it's becoming weaponized. It's a strategic defense metal, but it's also a monetary metal. So you've got both aspects of it, not just where gold is the monetary metal. This is a monetary and industrial metal. Industrial demand has been 6 years above the available supply. So we've had structural supply deficits. So this is something that's been building for many years. In fact, this is something, the price is reflecting the issues that's been happening for decades, where the silver price has been depressed to such a low level that we've had no real exploration cycle. We haven't had the investments to bring on new silver supplies. And now when there's a rush into available silver supplies, they're not there in mass. So you can't just flip a switch on and bring on hundreds of millions of ounces of new silver production. So we're in this period here for the next years, a year or two at least, where the demand is becoming so overwhelming, supplies are so thin that we're basically getting a bidding war. It's like an auction for the available silver supplies left out there.
So that's what you think is driving the price?
Yes, there is a true demand for physical silver. You see the premiums in China, $10-15 above spot price. So they're going for it. Indian silver ETF demand is higher than the Western silver ETF demands in the U.S. London is at a record low silver inventory level. So you're really seeing the strains on the silver market happening. Now with the Western silver investor coming into the market, they've been absent. Unbelievable. For the last year, nothing, and maybe the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, suddenly, let's get into the silver market. But on the flip side, for the last years, they've been feeding the silver market with supply. They've been chasing crypto, AI, and so on. They've just left silver for dead. So they've been helping the supply deficit by selling their above ground silver supplies and feeding that supply deficit. But now that's switched, and now they're demanding it. And so now we're really getting a lot of buying pressure from a lot of different sources. And then, of course, you have some big short positions in the market. You have some rumors of who that might be. European banks, probably maybe some U.S. banks. So they're getting just absolutely blown out of the water with these short positions. And at some point, you can really see a massive short squeeze if they're forced to cover those short positions. And I don't believe they fully have done that yet.
You said earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, we're about 6 years delayed in supply.
Well, even more so. I mean, the silver price peaked in 2011. In that cycle, we hit $50, but that was just for a few weeks. The silver price never really had a sustained period where the price, like for example, it just it incentivized the capital investment. So recently, the average silver price production was like $25. Even now, it's like low $30 an ounce. So when you have a $20, $25 break-even silver price, no one's going to go out and spend a ton of money drilling and so on. The investment interest was not here. So this is something that the supply issue has been building and building and building. And then at the same time, we've got demand for silver is used in so many different aspects.
Right.
You know, the AI boom, the silver batteries, and so on. So that's not something that's going away. It's actually increasing. You'll see some substitution, a little bit, more efficiency with the silver use, but boy, it's a critical metal to the economy and also to national defense.
Right.
So now that they've now mentioned that, in the U.S. it's a critical metal. They have, in China, they've kind of weaponized it, and we'll see more governments looking to secure supplies, which means they'll stockpile and add to these issues. So, boy, silver has a lot going for it. The price can be very volatile short term. I think you still have a lot more upside potential left in the silver price. And again, there's nothing really to come on to the silver market now to feed the supply deficit, except for maybe silver bucks. The biggest supply above ground of supplies right now are with SLV, with PSLV. Those are silver investors, and the ones that did not get shaken out of this sector of the last few, years, they're not looking to sell in mass right now at $100 silver. They've been holding on for dear life through these horrible. We've been through beatings. We've been waterboarded. We know that the dynamics are in play that takes a silver price much higher, and I don't think the incentive is there for them to really start selling. And on the flip side, they still have more net. You're getting the buyers coming in overall into the West. So you're not going to get a lot out of the silver guys until maybe $200-$300 plus an ounce. It's a really interesting moment for the silver price. And of course, you've got the gold price leading the way. It has been leading the way. And now silver is just kind of roared alive. And it's no longer a stealth bull market move where it has been for the last few years. You don't see the headlines yet. You go on CNBC, you don't see the mainstream media talking about silver. Last year, more money went into Bitcoin ETFs than gold ETFs. You had a net outflow of investment funds from gold and silver stocks. So it's just absolutely wild that this has been driven by emerging markets, not by the Western investors. So now that they join in with so many trillions of dollars on the sideline, the small little gold silver market, it doesn't take a lot to really bubble it. And I think what will happen is we'll overshoot to the upside. We've spent many years depressed on the downside. We've overshot on the downside, so we'll easily overshoot to the upside.
But how long do you think that will take?
We're in the process of that happening right now. So over the next year or two, I think we'll really see this process, this bull market develop. And I really believe the opportunity here from a risk-reward perspective is with the silver companies, the silver miners. Last quarter, their average silver price was like $52 an ounce. And the banking analysts on Wall Street, they're still not recommending it. I don't think they even recognize how much money these miners are making. Or they see the price and say, okay, this is kind of like 2011. We ran up to $50 and we crashed. So they don't believe that this is a sustained silver price move. They are so far behind the curve, but now the earnings are going to come out and they'll say, wow, look at all this money these guys are making. Nothing can compare to it on Wall Street. There's no other growth sector out like the gold stocks and silver stocks. So this is the year where the revaluation will happen to silver stocks and gold stocks. They should be really outperforming the gold and silver price, but they haven't. And the gold and silver price keeps going higher and higher. So it's just, there's a really good opportunity, I think, from the risk reward perspective to make money in the gold and silver stocks this year.
And do you see this, you said 2026, like Do you think this is going to happen in the next few months, later in 2026, rolling into
I think it's started. I think in the last few weeks you started to see, when we saw pullbacks in the silver stocks and gold stocks, the buying came in and started supporting them more, and they started to outperform the metal more and more. And you see kind of, I think the correlation is you see the Western silver retail buyers came into the market. So that's kind of the crossover. Said, okay, we have a bull market here. Let's look at the opportunities in the sector. Wall Street, I think, starting to notice it. So yeah, I think it has just started to really get going. It takes years. It takes 7, 10, 15 plus years to get a silver project. If you make a discovery, 1 out of 1,000 projects may become a silver mine. There's only 30, 40 something primary silver mines in the world. It's been decreasing. You have silver as a byproduct of copper and zinc. So, you might get some more of that coming online. But for a silver producer to double their production, that's not going to happen. You're going to have some lower grade ounces come on the book. So there'll be ways to, bring on maybe 50, 100, 150, 200 million more ounces, but it's not enough to satisfy the market appetite, the demand right now. So it's going to take many years for a true silver supply, new mine supply to come on board. And we're just starting to see the capital coming into these companies, into the exploration stocks.
The junior mining companies.
The junior mining companies. And you see it too, like all of a sudden all this money came into the exploration stocks the last months, and they go out there, they're drilling their projects away, and then they go to the assay labs, and instead of getting their assays in weeks, now it takes months. So there's a backlog, there's real constraints on how fast these processes work. So you can put as much money you want into the sector, but there's so many geologists, there's so many drill rigs, there's so many assay labs, there's only so many projects to even explore. So yeah, this is not like hitting the keyboard and creating a bunch of currency. This is a physical, real physical product that takes a lot of effort and energy to find, to mine, and bring onto the market. So
there's a lot of exhibitors here. Is there anyone that you're paying attention to specifically, or that's caught your eye?
Well, I love the miners because they're just easy, like Equinox Gold. These for those who are willing to take on less risks, the miners are the way to go. The juniors exploration stocks are the ones I'm buying because they have a lot more leverage, but a lot more, that's speculative capital, that's higher risk capital, because they definitely can fall down 50%, but a lot of these can go up 5, 10 plus times in value. So I've been invested like in Abra Silver for over 7, 8 years. I haven't sold a share. They're not reflecting. They're trading as if the silver price was at 30, 40, maybe even under $30 an ounce. They have not reflected the true price. And there's such a shortage of silver stocks, silver companies, silver projects. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to bubble. We're going to turn into a bubble phase here, and these stocks will get overvalued. So right now, you got another new company here, BP Silver. They're in Bolivia. That's kind of the new silver, unexplored silver frontier. So I like that. Silver Corp Metals, Fortuna Mining. It's hard to go wrong, actually. There's so many opportunities, and the problem is, which one do you pick? So it depends on your risk profile, of course. I think if you're going to go at this, create a basket. If you're going to in the junior stocks, don't just buy 1 or 2, buy 5 or 10, because it is volatile, it is risky. But yeah, I think you can create your own little ETF and go about it that way. You have the SilJ ETF, it's a Silver Juniors ETF, but that's more of the miners side. So yeah, the best way to diversify in the sector is by buying a basket of these companies.
Yeah, I like that perspective.
And you mentioned something about a potential bubble. Do you think that'll, based on your observations, will that happen in 2026? Or?
I think we're going to get into it. There's a good chance we get a severe correction maybe in second half of the year. If you just have a whole general liquidity crisis, you have the general markets crashing and people are just running for cash, that could set us back. But at the same time, we have a new Fed chief coming in May. They're going to cut rates, and there's just so many things that the liquidity is still flowing nicely. So there's not a huge concern at the moment, but we could get into something difficult. The markets there's a lot of risk factors, a lot of black swan kind of type of events out there. We're definitely, geopolitically, things are very problematic at the moment. But that's my word for 2026 was chaos. And chaos is not going away anytime soon. And if you want to have a balance to this chaos, you buy gold and silver. And the Western investors are so under allocated. They keep talking how overbought gold and silver are. Well, technically, that's a technical term. But fundamentally, we're so under owned. there's so much upside left, and they just have started noticing the sector. So I think this is the year where you're going to see so much cash trying to come in at once, and that could start to bubble the prices higher.
It's going to be an exciting year.
Yes.
Where can everyone find you? Sorry, Peter.
So I'm GoldSeek, SilverSeek.com. We just celebrated our 30th year of GoldSeek.com. So we have the longest running gold website, also longest running silver website, SilverSeek.com. I'm active on X at GoldSeek and come to these conferences. So hope to meet more people here.